in with our top stories. Natural and made manufacturers, the people of the Northwest region have been assured that the cooking gas storage center will be realized even before the made factors. The people of the Northwest even before the stipulated deadline. Surprises.
9 months after the laying of the foundation, the works have been evaluated at 30%. That is the conclusion of a recent site visit by a delegation of the Hydrocarbons Prices Stabilization Fund led by its Director General.
The quarter of the time, what we see in place, I could say almost about 30% within this short space of time.
In a meeting with the Northwest Governor prior to the field trip, bad road leading to the site, insufficient power and water supply, and above all, insecurity around the Banshee neighborhood are some problems that slowed down the evaluation of.
Officers had to rush everybody out of the site around 3:30, 3:45, and everybody should go home because there's some information around.
Acquiring land today are working, work it out with SOCIETE to see how we can start preparing deliberation.
Set to be held at high esteem by the head of state, the domestic gas storage plan is expected to be delivered by 2025.
I'm here, first of all, today the project is well moved. The project will be realized. There is no doubt about what is going about the project. And our wish is to have this project being realized before the record time.
Upon completion, the price of cooking gas in Bamenda is expected to drop by about 2,000 per bottle.
And more candidates are multiplying after the death of the chairman of the Social Democratic Front Party. Here comes another one. Guy Melon Hebdier Nansur announced this August 28 during a press briefing his candidacy for the post of national president of the Social Democratic Front Party, an initiative born according to the latter from observations of the shortcomings of the current party both and internal squabbles within the SDF. This comes to add to those already registered the day after the chairman's funeral on July 29. I'll come back to that in. Police and secondary schools are limited in once.
1 week to the start at the capital city.
Some you can see they are not actually on the market as full as we need.
As to what could be the reasons behind the scarcity, the bookshop operators say the publishers are not clear enough.
They're just telling us to wait. By the time the books will be out, they'll supply it to us.
And earlier this Monday, August 28, Nana Payon was before the press to denounce the fraudulent attitudes of those publishers who have voluntarily refused to print books for fear of being caught by the 6 years book change policy.
Print not a new book because the Prime Minister, head of government, have signed a decree and in 2017 gave 6 years for the book to live. This is the last year. And the publisher didn't want to print new books, but I don't think the family should pay for that.
He urges the government to take her responsibility to rescue parents, pupils and students from this calculated scarcity.
To bring the books, because they have to bring the books because they have been earning money in this country from the family, and those families today would like their children to have the books.
The parents moving from one bookshop to another, and others are left with no choice than go hunting for second-hand copies of such books.
Foodstuffs are the order of the day, and parents are on the look for where they can get the best at lower prices and at promotional prices. More on the story with our student journalist Chelsea Kwan.
With the aid of a marker, the normal prices are blurred and replaced with lower ones. A product of 3,000 francs becomes 2,500 francs or even less. We are at the esplanade of the 20th May Boulevard in Yaoundé, where promotional back-to-school sales are booming. It's not only about school kits, but also foodstuffs to accompany the kits.
I bought rice, I bought sugar, I bought oil. Really happy for this occasion. I'm begging the government to continue to multiply this type of action so that we can have what we can feed our children with.
I wish that the initiative can go natures in a cheap price.
With just a week left to the start of a new school year, this year, like others, is characterized by widespread inflation, which is affecting the purchasing power of most households. The promotional sales trade minister explains is part of the implementation of government's policy to combat high cost of living.
You had a full success.
Parents and others are invited to take advantage of the opportunity to get all they need at cheap and affordable prices at the reach of all. This is in order to have a stress-free back-to-school period.
And with the back-to-school preparation gaining steam, the National Gendarmerie has embarked on Operation Tentacles. This is aimed at cleaning all nooks and
2 weeks running, the National Gendarmerie has been digging into all the nooks and crannies of criminal zones here in the capital city. And their catch.
All the suspects who are found with dangerous objects like machetes, cutlasses, some found in possession of drugs of all natures. You know, we have like the Indian hems, we have drugs like Caillou.
With the new school year around the corner, the security of the population and properties of utmost importance.
I want to emphasize here that, you know, the rate of the crime wave is very, very high. And we find most of the culprits amongst our students. So that is why our hierarchy imposed and insisted on the fact that we should ensure the security of Yaoundé by going into the suburbs and making sure that we track to the last hiding places these dangerous guys.
The Operation Tentacles, as they term it, is to ensure Cameroonians comply with security and safety measures in place, remain civic, responsible, being in possession of national cards and more.
He who does not have an ID card is already a delinquent. So we want to ensure that those who are not in possession of the ID card, they should do everything possible to have their ID cards, because the fact that you don't have an ID card means you cannot easily be identified.
The cooperation with the population highly saluted for the success of this operation.
And due to the restive nature of the northwest region of Cameroon, many people could not travel to give their loved ones a befitting burial. That is a former journalist, with a former journalist who state broadcaster Chechoma Abanla. Family and friends decided to recall the memory of their mother who passed away at the peak of the insecurity or security conflicts in the northwest region of Cameroon. Kejan Henry Atembe.
There was no if for journalist Chechoma Bangla Nchekievie to say thank you, Mom, for the sacrifice to see me through this age. The ideal place was the St. Louis Parish Bonaberry in Douala for a memorial service to honor Mama Cecilia Asana Chechoma, who slept in the Lord after she was kidnapped by separatists in her native village, Babesi, northwest of Cameroon.
We are created to be with God, thanks to the mystery of the dead.
Like many, the security situation did not permit people to travel for a befitting burial of their loved one.
She felt that her efforts in the world took her to where she never imagined, and she felt that another tragedy like losing her daughter should not befall her. She felt that she had accomplished what she came to do in the world, and she spent the past 10 years telling people that she should go and insisting that when she dies, we should give her a befitting burial.
Born in 1933, Cecilia Asana Chechoma lived for her children and her extended family, providing the necessary financial support, just like any mother can do. The homely, as said by Monsignor Paul Nyaga, described the love of a mother to a child, talk less of a lone boy child she was still catering for, despite her very ripe age. It must be noted that at 87, she was kidnapped by separatist fighters. But then, still at 87, she surprisingly bought a pullover for her lone son to cover his body from cold. Mama Cecilia Asana Chechoma is gone for eternity. However, everyone is convinced she now intercedes for her children and extended family as she sojourns in the bosom of the Lord.
And out of Cameroon, we take you to Gabon, where the government has cut off the internet and introduced a curfew, citing the risk of violence shortly before the end of the presidential election between Ali Bongo Ondimba and his main opponents, Abel Ondo Osa, who had just announced frauds and demands to be claimed winner at the end of the ballot. We'll come back to that in our subsequent editions of the newscast. And we take you to Niger, where the French President Emmanuel Macron said during the 29th edition of Ambassadors Conference that the French ambassador in Niger will stay in a post despite pressure from the military behind the coup in the country, and by the way, praised the action of French diplomats who work in difficult conditions, particularly the situation in Niger. Those soldiers who took power asked for his departure. And we have these foreign briefs compiled to us by our journalist on internship, Aisha Tao. And that brings us to the end of this edition of the Primetime Newscast in the English language. You can now the international. Thanks so much for watching. And coming up next is the brief with Lil Peugeot. So we'll be back same time tomorrow. Good night.